single video. Now, how do I know this? Because this is the exact same thing that they did to us. They're doing to our people here what they did to us, psychological warfare. The message is implicit, because if I watch 10 videos in a row, and every one of them have a black male who's been given a lot of money to look like a hero, and every single video, he's running after a white female, then the white female is the prize and the one that has value. I do not have to say that the black woman doesn't have value. I do not have to say that I hate Winnie Mandela. I don't have to say those words. I show it in my behavior. As I'm desiring the ones that killed Winnie Mandela, the ones that imprisoned Winnie Mandela, that's who I want. It's implicit. But because we're not stating it, it goes into the psyche. And we actually begin to desire that doesn't look like our mother, that doesn't look like our grandmother, that doesn't look like our freedom fighters. Miss Sabukwe, who stood with her husband all those decades. My brother taught me about the Sabukwe's. I didn't know that before I came. He got me up. Well, I like that name now. That's the only name I use now. Wow. Unless I say Winnie first, I don't even say Mandela. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what, you know, it is. You know, once you learn the freedom fighter, it don't take long to learn. You know who is who. So what are they doing? Psychologically conditioning us. And I want you to hear this, because our women don't talk up enough. It's one thing I get upset with our women about. If our women would speak up, some of us that don't even realize what we're doing to them would make a change. Black woman, you've got to start saying, black man, when all you chase and all you show on television is you chasing after a woman that doesn't have her natural hair, who's white or is Asian or whatever she is, the message you are telling me is that you hate me. And what black women need to start doing, don't support, don't go to one concert, don't watch it, don't give any support to any black male entertainer. You gotta have consequences for this stuff. It's called racial responsibility. Because what is happening is that the young black youth, it doesn't matter what you're saying. It does matter what you're saying at home, but hear what I'm saying. They're watching the screen. And our ancestors did it like this. They realized over time that people worship what they see on walls. It's a psychological thing. The image impregnates itself in the mind of our people. So our ancestors put Africans all over the walls. And the messages they wanted to leave with us, they put up there. One of the main messages they put up there was, here's Amen is God. Here are the enemies to African people. Here's the king smiting on their head. He said, you cannot be friends with people that don't look like your people. First, you protect your nation, then you be nice. You walk with your left foot forward. It's called the Nesiamsu. You walk with your left foot forward to trample down evil so that your heart can go forward. Before you start this nice guy stuff, first, kill all your enemies first. Who is it that wants to come and rape black women? Well, find them and give them a necklace. Who is it wants to steal your land? Find them and make them fear you. And make them go home to their folks if any of them get away and tell them, don't go down there because it's a problem down there. They don't like us down there. First, you secure your perimeter. And then when you're safe, then we can do what we're doing here. We can fellowship. These are on the walls. And we worship that which is on the walls. So what the Europeans have done in the modern context, they've taken the African psychology, and now the walls are the TV and the big screen. And they show us as black men worshiping white females. What is the result? A steep increase in interracial dating. What does that do? All you have to do, and again, I wish I had my slides so I could show you. All you have to do is look. And what you'll start seeing is that you're getting lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter. See, when you're living it, you don't see it as much. But if you start paying close attention, you're going to see more and more interracial dating going on. Less and less of black men wanting authentic black women. Why? Because the message is being put out there. I lived through it, so I know. Where it got to the point where dark-skinned black women literally had the lowest self-esteem in America to this very day. Why? Because every message they get is that you're ugly, to the point where the young boys say, oh, you black and ugly. I mean, literally, those are the words they use. These are black people using it. Matter of fact, when I was growing up, it was called an African booty scratcher. They showed us movies about Africa with some magic white boy named Tarzan swinging through a tree, beating up apes and elephants. So we thought Africa was bad, even though we Africans. We don't want to be African. And then if you're dark-skinned in the room, you're African booty scratcher. We watch the cartoons. I'm 44 years old, going on 45. The young children in America still say that. Same thing. The hatred of Africa. But what does it lead to? When we were growing up, all the brothers want a red bone or a light-skinned woman. Why? because we've been, and I'm telling you my life experience of what I've seen in my own environment, and I see now through study and research, I see what they do. What are the consequences of this? The consequences is that psychologically, a few things happen. Over the course of 1 or 2 generations, literally, you go from being black to brownish till you get to the point where you're no longer even black. And there are civilizations that have done that. In Brazil, they've wiped out in 2 generations whole groups of black people simply by telling the black to marry onto light. Now, this is something that's having grave implications and issues, because notice who the whites go for. See, I want you to see this, because this is, again, 6,500 years of history, but we're living it today. Does the white female go for the black man who's struggling in the street, who has nothing? Does she go for the guy that looks like he's about to make it or do something? Who she go for? The one that has what? Money. So, the wealth that comes into our community that we're able to scrounge up under this type of oppression, we get a few dollars. Where does it end up going back? It goes right back to the whites. So they take your land first, you fight through that, you find a way to make some money, and now they condition you intellectually and mentally so that the black woman that helped us as men get to where we are in life, we know our women are always there for us. Just like you look at Nelson Mandela in their 27 years, who was it that kept that movement going? His name even remembered. It was Winnie Mandela, the black woman. When he gets out, what happens to her? She got to go. This is a consequence that opens the door for what they're doing now, which is something else I'll talk about a little bit later, where they begin to turn black women against black men and see black men as their enemy. But it didn't start with black women looking at the world that way. You had to open them up to that. How did they do it? They really made her our enemy by us showing her that we don't desire her. This is an economic, social, genetic genocide that happens everywhere around the world. It's calculated. That's why when I drove down, let me finish. I watched every one of the videos. I saw one video with a sister with natural hair that was the object of the brother's affection. But guess what? Who was she with? Some white dude. He was a mulatto, whatever he was. I don't know what he was. And at the end of it, the brother, because the white boy, whatever he was, said, I'm not going to give her up. The brother said, well, here, he put some money on the thing. He said, hey, you take that, I can take her with me. And I'm glad the brother fought for his woman, but you in Africa, dude. Why are you fighting? Why are you fighting and paying money for your own woman in Africa? Why do you have to get, what? The messages that are being given, they may seem unintentional. I'm telling you, through 40 years of devastation of what I've seen in my community, from a point of where we were some proud, productive people who would fight a lot, to the point now where the same neighborhoods where I grew up, where they couldn't even come around, they come in and take everything, walk around with their dogs, with us with our heads bowed down. It's a psychological warfare that's going on. The reason I spend as much time as I am on this integration one is because this is the same process that explains how we lost Kemet. How did we lose Nubia? We did not lose it in physical battle. We lost it with black males marrying their daughters who were royal onto white boys, who then came in and brought more and more white till eventually there were no blacks left, or more and more Asiatics till there were no black people left. It's happening around you. Every billboard you see, look at the billboards when you leave here. See if you see a proud, productive black man and proud, productive black woman together on the billboard. No. You're going to see a white boy with a black woman and a white female with a black man. It is a psychological genocide, and it has real active ramifications internationally. I'll go to the next one. Physical land grabbing and violence. That's another big one. If you pay attention, how many of you all know that the Chinese have cities in Africa that black people can't go into? I'm gonna say it again. I didn't just say, I'm not just talking about how many Chinese are coming into Africa. They've built cities in Africa that the African governments have let them come in. Blacks are not allowed. I wouldn't even make this up. In fact, in Kenya, this is a good story. You'll appreciate this one. I had just left Uganda. went back to the U.S., and a story came out on the internet, on Facebook, where there was a Kenyan restaurant owned by Asian in Kenya that said no blacks after 5. So I put it up on the internet, and Uganda's close to Kenya. So one of my guys there in Kenya saw the thing I put up there, and he called. I didn't know at the time, because the next thing I saw was a video with the place that got ransacked, and the Asian owner had got arrested, and they were charging him and everything like that, and the people just took everything that was in the store and everything. I didn't know what had happened, and so he contacted me and said, yeah, man, I saw the little thing you put up there. I called one of the people I know in government in Kenya and told them. They didn't know. He said he went over there, arrested the guy, and told the people just went in there and took everything. So that was a situation where we demonstrated some self-esteem. But I just want you to understand, what is the likelihood that one of us could go to China and start a successful business and put on it, no Chinese after 5 p.m.? What? He said it'll kill you. What is the likelihood I could go to India and say no dot heads after 5? If you got a dot, then it's too hot for you to come on. Don't come, go. What is the likelihood I could do that and walk out of there a survivor? Could you go to America and say no white folks after 5? But in Africa, our enemies are so comfortable with our weakness and our shallowness and our willingness to be walked over like a mat, that they will come into Africa and advertise we're not welcome in our own home. I hear the boys do it all the time. I ended up in a boy home. I told the brother, you advertise for a place. I've never been here, so, I'm going in quiet. And they had a black brother on the advertisement, right? So I said, oh, this is going to be nice. They had a big lion on the front of the house. I said, oh, yeah, boy, that's what I'm talking about. I'm on the real African house. Man, the biggest, wildest bull walked out of the house when I get this. You got to be kidding me, man. I mean, the place is beautiful. I said, man, are you serious? I heard them. I mean, okay, do I look black to y'all? Do I look like an African? Yes. I'm in the house, and she's actually telling me, the Africans, first of all, I'm offended. I'm not saying it because I'm standing. I won't get poisoned, right? I'm like, okay, they. I'm not African now, okay. The Africans, they don't know their own history. See, we were here first, and then they came down and invaded other groups, and then they invaded. I said, are you really sitting here trying to... They don't know I'm irritated. Like, you're actually trying to convince an African. Now, we couldn't even begin to go to China and talk like that. Just talking like that, they'd put you out the country. Talking like that in India. Talking like that anywhere. But we allow this, and we don't have to. We're powerful now. In the U.S., the same thing you're seeing with the land grab. The Portuguese are invading Angola, buying up everything. You can't even get a position. I've talked to people in Portugal, in Angola. You can't even barely get a position in government if you're not a mulatto. So the mulattoes, again, if you read The Destruction of Black Civilization, integration, the key element of destruction of black civilization, the mulattoes, not every single one of them, but as a class and as a group, historically, we're talking about history. Just like Barack Obama, he was a pure enemy to African people. I can tell you, I lived there. The only thing he did, he gave the homosexuals everything they wanted. He gave the Zionist small hat Jews everything that they wanted, the white so-called Jews. The Hispanics got everything they wanted. The only thing he did to black people said, you must be gay. And then came to Africans and said, you must be a homosexual. That's the only thing he did in reference to black people. A pure enemy, but he came out of the wound of the European. And they've used this mulatto trick for thousands of years because what they realize, again, they know that they cannot physically deal with us. But they found something that's worked as far back as Lucius Septimius Severus in Rome, when they really wanted to come into Africa, in North Africa, and invade and finish off the last